Hi, welcome to the Fatherly Edition, a podcast by Tommaso Maggio alongside with a cavalcade of Daddy. Join us!
Right.
Welcome back to the Fatherly Edition. Today we are with Martin. Martin is an engineer from Germany that works in Thailand from several years and is into renewable and investment segment. So now this works as basically the head of technical operation in the APAC area region. And I let him to speak about his experience. Who was Martin a few years ago, let's say, and who is Martin now with kids growing up faster and faster?
Yeah. Hey, Tommaso, thank you for having me today for this very interesting session. And yes, as you ask, when I was younger, of course, more self-focused on myself and on my own needs. But I'm in APAC already more than 20 years, in Asia more than 20 years, and the kids grown up during that period of time. So actually, what I really enjoy with the kids is that I have a new opportunity to actually grow and guide my own kids towards the new world they need to grow into, they need to be successful in, and they can enjoy today. I think there's a lot of opportunities in the new world for kids, but also a lot of challenges, I guess.
I think so. So there is some pattern that you recognize yourself on something that somehow changed in those years.
Yes, to be very frank, probably you as well, from the generation where internet just became normal, right? So something where the modem starts, the old world of mobile phone, where today kids, that is common. And I had a conversation with my son about like CD, right? Kind of LP. They don't even know about it. So that's a kind of interesting thing. They grow up and Googling everything and finding everything, and I had to go to the library to look at information, right? So it's really a different way how fast you can get information. It's both ways, positive and negative. As a challenge, also as a parent, definitely something how to control this. My parents don't have to worry about this one.
Yes. You need to keep always be updated, as a friend say, like a software. So we need every 6 months an update, an upgrade, because if not, we cannot keep up with the kids and with the fast world that we are living nowadays.
Correct.
It seems we took about 50 years ago, but we browsed, and then we went to the library to search for information. As you say, now it seems a strange things.
It's for us as well. We had to be adopted as well, right? As adults today, and having a job and living in that world, we need to adopt as well to this. But I think what was really different is that we learned on how to filter this, right? And this is where I think the kids are struggling today. They're getting so much information and not really know how to process that. I think that's really a challenge we have to manage as parents and as fathers as well, right?
Yes, so it's a complicated task. We are talking with the other parts as well. So we are somehow the generation who build even all those applications, And now, as a parent, we complain because it should not be just for kids. We should be able to control somehow. But we make somehow things that they stuck somehow after a while. And this is something to look into, as you say.
Yeah, but it's one of these, talking, for example, about devices, right? Mobile phones, yes. And what age kids should get a mobile phone, and they see their mom and their dad having that, and themselves not really allowing to use it that much. So this kind of challenge. To be honest, in our family, we put a lot of focus on trying to have quality time with the kids. I'm not always good. If you have if you have a manager job, you be naturally on the phone or need to check emails and stuff like this. So this is of course a balance to let the kids understand why they cannot watch another series, but my father and my mom can spend more time on the phone. So I think this is and to be honest, this story during pandemic was even more difficult to manage.
Exactly. Yes. There is a sort of somehow we can explain these generational things, because as you say, we use for work, but then they show that we can use for everything else. So how you say, and what is the limit? No? Yeah. Why we should limit the same? Somebody say they should not use the phone or device at school. At the same time, if they know how to use, if they learn how you say, how to process those information, then that can be a very useful tool for them now and for their future career. What do you think?
Yeah, there's also something. I mean, we're talking about the father piece in here, right? I'm traveling as well a lot, so I enjoy to be able to speak to my boys through FaceTime, be able to see them, be able to interact on the phone, and I think that's the same thing for them, right? There's this kind of the balance on how to use it right, and when is it quality and when is it waste of time. I think there's a couple of things that people are just entertaining themselves rather than use it right. But yeah, you say it right. I mean, they need to learn this proper from home and also from school, how to use technology in a more proper way.
Yes, I think I agree with you. So is our job, first to learn, just because we need for our profession, everybody need it. But as a parents, we need an extra eye on it, because nowadays everyone talk, for instance, chat GTP. But if you don't know again how to recognize fake from real information, again, is a never ending. So you can be lost and do not get what you really count. To help to navigate maybe can make a difference.
Yes, it's definitely one of the challenges. I mean, actually, I don't have an answer to, right? But that I haven't. For me, no, but for me in general, no. I mean, I don't have an answer to my own kids to manage this. That's my point. It's something bothers me, thinking to do it right. What measures to put in place, have not be too stringent as well. You don't want to get your kids being the outsider of the others, right? Don't be able to see the latest shows. They can talk to each other and socialize. So this is one of the worries I have really on how to grow up the boys properly.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, and that apply, yes, from the last movie, the last series to the last piece of technology that can be the new Nintendo, the new console, or whatever is out. So once the community of friends start using, they will ask why we cannot. No, there's always this hard balance, more and more. So, but as father, do you see anything? You say a lot changed in those years. What is the things you changed most in terms of fatherhood that you maybe experience?
I used the caring of another individual. I have an older son which is 19, and I have a younger one which is 4.5, and there's a big difference between that in my age as well. And the younger one now, I think it's more about really the care of their life and form it properly into the direction where allowing them actually to have the individual. I grew up in Germany, to give an example. I grew up in Germany where there's a lot of things of self-directions when you learn, when you study. And living in Asia, there's a lot about giving more directions as parents. I know I'm also married to an Asian beautiful wife, Filipina, and there's a lot about study and being on focus, being doing your homework and all of that. And I think me as a more Caucasian and German, I try to bring the balance in, still allowing for the exploration, allowing for failure, right? You learn from failures, instead of for the book. So I think this is where it changed me as a father, and as well as actually as a person. I think I look things different today as a father on certain day-to-day tasks than I would do as an individual or a single man.
Yeah, that is an important thing. Yes, recognize what you learn basically from living those experiences with your kids. So if there is one thing you can summarize, you learn from them, what will be?
I think it's what I found very interesting is all the money you have and all the assets we develop, right? We only aim for house and the car and so on. But at the end of the day, all I want is time. And that's something I'm sometimes not good at that. So I really force myself into this and make sure I spend proper time with the kids when they're needed and not just when I have time or it's convenient for me. I think this is an important piece. For example, it's something even that I'm traveling a lot, and but I'm trying to be, I think, 95% committed to their events. When they have school events, when there is a birthday, I make sure I'm there. It's something I don't want to miss. And B, I think it's unfair to be away at these kind of events for success, right? I'm just did a taekwondo belt a couple of weeks back, and I had to make sure I'm there, and he was very happy to see me there. And he looks for, right? So this kind of things, and where I really pay attention to it, and I can learn from them that there is somebody needing me, not just for the sake of being there, but enjoys the company to be around, and that's unconditional. Right? They're just enjoying to be around with the mother and the father for their life event they're going through.
Yeah, I think that's what will make the difference. Even, later on in their life, they will remember that you spend quality time, not just, as you say, not just because you have a bit of time between jumping to one flight to another, but because you commit to be there. And then, of course, they notice that, because when somebody is present with their whole themselves, not just physically. I think that will somehow elevate the memory they spend with you.
Right, and that's what I hope. That's what I aim for. So you will only find out later.
Yes, I don't think that there is a shortcut. So, but I think everybody does the best, to spend good time with them. And you say your work bring you to travel a lot. So how you balance? So you somehow, anyway, you commit to balance even through scheduled time, family, and shutouts works. So how complex is it?
I think that I have this kind of simple rule that I don't try to travel on weekends. So I try to travel only on weeks. So I'm home on the weekends to make sure that this is family time or our time to do. Secondly, even on I try to get little getaways on the weekends as well. We pick up one day of maybe do something together, which we're planning out. So it's kind of looking forward. Yes, I'm a week away, but next week if we do this and this, and then actually we stick to it. So one of the things I really implement into my kids and also in general my life and my wife is that we keep promises we do, right? So this is so important for the kids. I think they can live with but I can accept that, for example, I'm away for a couple of days, even they don't like it, explaining it, this is for job, that's what pace is all here and so on. But then they have something to look forward to, and then I want to really make sure I don't disappoint them, right? If I agree and I promise I'll be there for this event on this Friday, and I make 100% sure I'm there. And I balance my work as well in this way. So this is usually something I don't compromise on. I move my mob meetings around, my trip around, so I can accompany this.
I think this is fantastic. The fact, so all this effort, from a kid's point of view, is awesome. So you see, to have somebody who, listen, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, or in 6 months, we will do this, and then see things that materialize somehow. I'm sure it's an experience that they're looking forward for it. And
they trust you, right?
Yeah.
If you keep it. This is one of the things it's very important that the trust is there, that even that there's some absence there, they need to compromise on certain things, but the other one around will come, right? That's discussion.
Yeah.
But even then, if you fail once, then you explain that this is also acceptable, right? So as long as the dialogue is there, when one plan unfortunately doesn't unfold that it was originally planned, they have a little mercy with me. This one, as long as we have an open communication.
I think that it seems a good strategy to keep an open conversation, no? Because many say, your kids will talk with you until they are around 10, and then they close down, and then forget about them to talk again until they are in the late 20s. So, but I think there are different strategies so that each of us can embrace. And yours seems pretty a good tips, let's say, to at least to add confidence in them and trust, as you say. That's important.
Yes, well, that work that way.
Yeah,
for that.
Yeah, I think. What is the relation between the two of you? Because it's quite a big gap between the two boys.
Oh yeah, it's different. They're also grown-up different. So the big boy, he can have his own world. He's 19, but I go to university now. And but what I see, it's another interesting. They're still spending time together, so they're caring to each other. Hey, where's Julian? And the other one spending time and playing with each other. I mean, one of the benefits is maybe it's that I speak German. I mean, our home language is English, but I speak German with both boys, and also the younger one, he speaks perfectly German. Even to the pandemic, that I was actually not traveling during that time, so I was home at the right time every day, so we can spend all our conversations in German. That helps them to actually communicate as well, and spend and share thoughts. Again, there's an age gap, right? There's an interest gap that needs to be bridged, but so far it's quite harmonic. Quite an interesting thing to watch. Sometimes they come home, they're lying on the floor. One is a soccer player and try to teach the other one how to do things right at the ball, and the younger one is more the academics, more the little pieces, and then he's teaching the big boy how to put things into little pieces and fit something in there, and they're complementary each other.
Yeah, I'm sure it's beautiful to see how they interact, especially as father. You see, even they have their own language, their own way to communicate. They find a way to be together, spending again even quality time between brothers. That's I assume is thanks to mommy and daddy, because for sure they learn from somebody.
Yes, the kids see, kids do. That's what I learned in both ways, right? You have to be careful of what you say. They're repeating this, but then the other way, they also see you doing the thing. If you don't put your bed, if you don't make your bed every morning, it's hard to convince them to do their bed themselves, right? So I have to be the role model in doing this. This is on all little bits and pieces.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they absorb and they reflect what they see every day. So there is no shortcut in it, no?
Right. It's hard work for parents as well. Sometimes we'll be a bit tired and lazy, right? Should I really do the bed right now? But yeah, you ask them to do this, and then you have to at least be in the role model. I'm sure they see that right. Yeah, cleaning up the dishes and stuff like that. So little bits and pieces in life.
And how is to live abroad for so long with, as a family? How is complicated? There is something that you sometimes wish to have your family around you, or your wife family around you, or how you balance everything of the house?
Oh, it's a tough question because I'm actually the only child as well. So my parents, I left very early, and beginning of life, my mom also wanted me being more around and getting back to Germany. However, I desired to stay away. I thought more happiness here. And but this coming out together. My parents are getting older, they're retired, so they're coming more out to Thailand now. Actually, they're staying to be 6 months.
Oh, that's a good thing.
being here over winter. Yeah, that's the first year they tried this now. So my mom went home beginning of March now, and trying to have this more time together. My wife's family, she's from the region at least. They're living in the Philippines, so they're a bit closer to
compared to Germany.
To compensate exactly. Yeah. But I think the new technology helps a lot, right? I mean, it's really,
for sure.
Compared to when I start traveling, there was the time where the Skype, you still had to pay for it and trying to get a connection and stuff like this. So you have to plan. You know, there was no voice recording that you can do right now and video recording. So that was a bit more challenging. And I think throughout the years, this is definitely a helpful piece to living abroad and still being quite connected and share the information of the day-to-day things. So for me, I enjoy it here in Asia. It's more lively than in Germany, for example. And I think for the kids, we moved to Bangkok 4 years ago from the Philippines. So Bangkok is for us the right place for the kids at the moment. Right, there's not to offer. Very happy in the international kindergarten, and I think all of that pays off the sacrifice we do of maybe for example not being connected with our parents every day.
Yeah, somebody says the challenge, and the risk. Yeah, you have the risk, and the challenge of our own freedom. Yeah, we live abroad, but of course there are a lot of personal responsibility to take care of. But on the other hand, so again, the right city can offer a lot of opportunity. And as you say, for instance,
those depend on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, for me, it was a lot about home, definition of home. If somebody asked me today, where is home? And home is, I make every place I live home.
Right.
It's with all pieces, with all bits and pieces you have to do. It's a place to live, and that's where we need to be home, and then we're feeling home. And so far, that works for the last 20 years being away.
Well, if worked for 20 years, this seems is a good recipe. And I think it's the best thing. So when you feel connected in your own family, and then you have your own way to discover and explore and live life at full, whatever you are. See the context, yes, it's just a context, but the family is the note of this context. Because a pretty good recipe. You go ahead. So you plan to stay longer in Bangkok? Since you enjoy?
I mean, right now it's the right thing. I think we like to stay longer in the region. I think that's where we are, and so far we have no plan to leave, which is
it's already a good plan. It's already a plan.
Yeah, it's already a good plan. So kind of, because we are not part of these expert families who are on an timely assignment, right? Saying, hey, 4 years you have to go somewhere else. So usually my job drives me somewhere. So as long as it's in order and the family is happy, so I think it's time for us to stay a bit longer. It's a beautiful place. I mean, Thailand and Bangkok is a beautiful place, and
yes,
well, it's quite international, and there's no need to move.
Yes, especially if you compare other country. I mean, the city itself, so there are many opportunities, and then plus, if even the grandpa and grandma enjoy to visiting time to time, that's a perfect combination, no? So it's
they always make an effort. I think it's similar to the philosophy. I mean, my mom came 3 times during the pandemic, and the 3 times 14 days of quarantine just to come out and see us, right? So it's quite a commitment to go through, and
it is. Yeah, but it's something you do for love. For that you can say.
Exactly.
No? And because we discussed with a few days ago, we say, how you see when you're older and your parents get older, what is the idea? And then, of course, everyone has his own story, no? Somebody is lucky enough to have parents traveling and to visit them. Somebody have to make the other effort. So everyone has his own ending of the story. It is interesting to see how each try to be connected, stay connected with the inner family. That is important as well.
Right.
So, any last things you want to add? Any advice, for instance, to new parents ready to, I don't know, jump in new opportunity to living abroad, or for somebody that never experienced living abroad before?
Okay, I think maybe two things, right? Like many of your listeners maybe are in intercultural relationships between Asian wives, for example. And what I found very interesting, and I think that's very good to follow, is allowing for both cultures to set in to the child's development. I think it's it's actually for me it's the best perfect fit, because it allows for a new type of individual be created, right, cultural wise, and I think allowing for this, and also having the frustrations. I mean, we all go through that. Frustrations in growing up kids as a parent, but allow for this openly and discuss this home openly. I think this is a very helpful piece for both parties, for the parent himself to enjoy it, and for the kid as well.
Perfect. So kids of the third culture, let's say, no? So they can
have a lot to tell. Where do I come from? Where do I born? Where are my parents? So they have a long story to tell. I'm only German, right? I have two parents. My story was very short, but the new generation, they're growing up in different countries, with mixed parents. I think they have a long story to tell, to introduce themselves.
Exactly.
What they do and what's their identity.
Yeah, a business card would be never enough for them just to describe who they are, how much culture is within them. But that is a beautiful thing, because the more you connect, the more you understand where you're from, living with a diversity around you, and you better can empathize and live the present and the future. Thank you for being a testimony. Thank you for being a testimonial of this wonderful experience of living abroad and be a daddy of not one but two boys with quite a gap of age. So congratulations first, and
thanks a lot, Tommaso.
See you soon again. Thank you for.
Yes, thanks a lot.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Dankeschön and ciao, right? That's what it is in your language.
Grazie mille.
Grazie. Sorry, the other one. Okay.
Perfetto.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Ciao.
Have a nice evening. Thank you.
You too. Bye. Bye.
Hi, thanks for listening the Fatherly Edition. If you like what you've been hearing, please follow Tommaso Maggio on LinkedIn or subscribe to the Fatherly Edition podcast on Spotify, Apple, or whatever you gain your podcast.